again. Welcome to What the Hell Is This? Now, Zhang Yimou. Oh, what were you thinking with the Great Wall? What the hell was going on in your mind when you made this film? This is a perfect example of a good director making a complete turkey, and you're wondering why. Now, this is kind of like it's Bookend the Week from the 800 as well, because it had the kind of same thing of mega production, Chinese money. This one had American money too, and it was like, wow, this is proud to be China, but not in a good way. Basically, propaganda for China in a weird way, and not in a very interesting way either. Now, Zhang Yimou has made a lot of really good films. He's made Hero. Hero was wonderful. Hero was one of those things where it showed pride in Chinese past and wasn't annoying with it. It was actually like a moving story. House of the Flying Daggers, my personal favourite of those ones. Curse of the Golden Flower. And after this film, he made Shadow, which is a very, very good film of this type of the martial arts and fantasy stuff. It was wonderful. Real Return to Form. He's done a lot of really good films. He did one Christian Bale, Broken Flowers, recently as well. So he's done some international co-productions. He's done a lot of really good films in the 90s. And he made this film and it's like, what were you thinking? What the hell were you thinking with this one? This is bad in a wow way. This is really bad. Like, I watched it recently and I was like, wow. I'd seen it before and I thought, this is not good. This is really not good. But when I saw it again, I was like, wow. Because I watched it projected to try and get the bigger screen experience. And in projected, you can see how much a disaster it really is and how badly planned it was and how weird it was. And it's the worst film for a lot of careers. And this is the second bad film starring Willem Dafoe in this week. You know, and I would say that this one might actually be worse than Speed 2. They're definitely within the same range of bad. The only person there's two people, right, who escape from this film with some basic dignity intact. Basically, Jing Tian, who's plays a Commander Lin May, and she's really good. And Andy Lau as a strategist. They're the two they're the only two leave with dignity. Pedro Pascal's in it as Matt Damon's sidekick. He's terrible, and he's usually good, and he's terrible in this film. Matt Damon is god awful in this film. I don't know what accent he's trying to do, but he's terrible. He looks like he knows he's in a bad film, and he knows he's like, okay, I'm going to have to ride it out as much as I can, try and be professional, but he's still terrible. It's just like, there's nothing he can do. He's a terrible character. Willem Dafoe is playing this guy, doesn't make any sense. The guy who's been at the wall for so long, and yet he's still trying to escape and get the black powder, the gunpowder, to still be rich. So you think he's going to be someone who's been integrated into Chinese society, but he's not. He's still a thieving git, and it's the least interesting thing you do his character. And he's trying. He always tried, no matter what he's in, but it's not a highlight for him. It's like it's one of those ones where he tried, he failed. The character's still awful. It's also interesting to watch Andy Lau and Matt Damon together because they both played the same character. Because Andy Lau was the undercover character in Internal Affairs, and Matt Damon played that character in Departed, the not so good remake. And as with that, Andy Lau comes out better in this film too, because he's pretty decent. No matter what he's doing, he's decent. The lead actress, she is good. She knows what she's doing. She's trying her best within this disaster of a film. There's not much she can do. I think she ended up doing stuff like in Kong Island and stuff as well, because of the same production company. And she's just good in this, and she's trying her best. But nothing else works. This is just a disaster. Now, there's a reason why it's a disaster. And that's because they're telling a story that it should be mythical. And the idea with China is, why was the Great Wall of China built? Okay, there's lots of reasons, but in this one, it's to protect China from these monsters that arrived in this comet. And these monsters look like every other monster we've seen in a Western sci-fi movie for the last 20 years. So there's no sense at any point of a myth of something from the East that would make you suspend disbelief and think, okay, I can go along with this. This is a you taking this. No, they're just ravaging monsters that are just basically come from like a pitch black movie, but worse because there's tons of them and there's nothing done with them at all. It's just terrible. And it just takes away from any potential myth making they can make in this film. And you can see Guillermo trying for these costumes, these color-coordinated costumes, to try and add a sense of otherworldliness. But every time he does it, he's completely undone by the fact that the script's just terrible beyond words. And there's no plot development, no character development. Just people just yapping to each other in boring ways throughout it. There's one fun idea, which is they do these bungee jumps to come down and stab these creatures at some point. That's good for, a whole half a minute of the film. And it always looks beautiful, but nothing interesting happens. It's one of those films where nothing interesting happens at all. Like, ever. But it always looks beautiful, but it's like, every time you think, I've spoiled this cliche, this is going to happen, it happens. You know, it's a playbook of every cliche you've ever seen in a film, and it's never elevated once by performance, by scripting, by visuals. Never. It's always the most basic stuff. But because the idea is so stupid as well, like they're fighting these monsters, these generic monsters who never do anything interesting, you don't care. And there's just all these warriors all over the place, and people can kill left, right, and centre always, and you don't care at all because there's no characters. There's no atmosphere set up either. It's meant to be this oppressive thing of they're behind this wall and they're terrified. It's been on for generations. You never feel that. Everyone's colour coordinated, so everyone looks like they've just been there. And they just started fighting them, even though they're telling you something different. And there's no myth making of the creatures. They just feel like they're just there and they've been there for generations. But there's no sense of this myth will create something greater of any Chinese culture. No, there's nothing. It's just the monsters. And there's lots of them and they're generic. That's it. And it makes you feel the film is really stupid because they have not done one thing to make you excited to watching this film. Boy, oh boy, there's a lot of talk scenes that are boring. This is like what I mentioned earlier in the week about talk scenes that go on and on, like with 300 that are going on and on, talk scenes that are pretty boring. There's nothing in this one. This one is non-stop scenes of people in this wall talking to each other in ways that is completely tedious. Because you know everything everyone's going to do in the first place, and you'll get Matt Damon's terrible accent at all points, and you've got all these terrible jokes, and you're trying to remain interested, and it's like watching paint dry because nothing's working at all. It's like, how can a director with talent be this bad in a film? Like, I can understand like the campy weirdness of our Showgirls or our Exodus 2. Like directors went too far in some direction, and obviously they thought they knew what they were doing, and they realised by the time the film finished they've misjudged it, and it's a weird disaster. No, this one is like, how did anyone stay awake during any of these scenes? Because nothing interesting's happened. There's nothing interesting happens at all. And basically it's into like, first half is them at the wall, second half them realising, oh, the creatures have got through the wall even though we said it's impossible. Oh no, we're going to have to ride round to the capital to save them. And Matt Damon has to decide whether he's going to be, you know, a scumbag scavenger who's going to steal the black powder, the gunpowder, to take it to the West, or he's going to help protect the people. And what do you think he's going to do? And there's this whole bit in the middle of this stupid monster movie about gunpowder and how awful it's been for the Chinese and how it shouldn't be exported just to save the rest of the world from themselves. And it's like, oh, shut up. Just, you film, you're not smart enough to judge anybody in anything. This is just, it's done so tediously, And you keep on doing this Matt Damon thing about how he's been in these wars and he's never fought for anybody. He's always going from war to war. Yeah, he sounds like a sociopath. Sounds like a warrior sociopath. Why are you trusting him at all? Because they don't have the guts to make him a total scumbag. The way they did with Rutger Hauer in Flesh and Blood. They don't have the guts to do that here. They just, oh, he's a romantic hero, even though he's a psychopath. And, and the same with Pedro Pascal's character. He's a total psycho throughout it. They'll try and make him look like a rogue. I was like, God, this is so bad. And they're actually made a character who can do that, feel at it. It's like, how do you make him feel at that kind of part? This film finds a way to take away all his charm and make Matt Damon look like a total idiot as well. Which, so the Team America did too, but this one, he's on screen the whole time himself and he just looks lost. So him and Pascal are just like, anytime they're on screen, it's like, oh God, the film was so bad. Anytime they're off screen, it's usually monsters and it's still so bad, but at least they're not on screen. Hey, good for that. Yeah, so it is one of the most awful misjudged characters for a movie star, like, ever. This is like John Wayne playing Genghis Khan level bad miscasting. This is just like embarrassing all the way through. It's like, how couldn't you see how bad this is when they're making this film? This character sinks the entire film. It brings all the Western stuff into it, takes away from all the fantasy, and also brings those Western type monsters. When this could have just been a cool movie about the Great Wall of China, Chinese fighting crazier, weirder monsters. That would have been cool. Instead, you take the most boring thing ever and do the most boring version of it. Because they go in the second half, they have to go to the save the capital of China from a giant amount of monsters, and they do the really boring thing in an action movie is, if you kill the queen, they'll all run away. Now, to pull that off, you have to set it up really early, and you have to really do a lot of build-up. This one does the least. This one actually outdoes Phantom Menace for, like, in the sense of, remember Phantom Menace, when they blew up the thing and all the robots shut down, you're thinking, bit of a cop-out, that's very weak ending. In a film that didn't really work, that's a very bad ending. The Avengers kind of pulled it off because of the way they did it. They managed to pull it off. This one is the most pathetic version of it ever, because it's like, all these creatures are all hungry and angry, but because a queen dies, they stop ravaging the entire land. What the hell? They're not robots or anything, they're actually creatures. Of course they'd keep on eating. But they don't. They just disappear once the queen's dead. It's the dumbest ending I've ever seen. It's really stupid. And they have to do this magic shot where they blow the queen up and kill some of the warriors around about her, and the rest just disperse, and it's like, this is so stupid. And the whole thing is they can't do anything about their queen, and it's like, oh God, it's really terrible. It's embarrassing because they're setting that up the second half of the film, and you're thinking this is the dumbest thing ever. And so basically having that ending means they can have a lot of people killed by these monsters in supposedly fun ways, but they're really kind of boring. And you have all these characters sacrificing themselves to let these heroes get this special shot off. And you're watching the whole thing going, this is stupid. This is really stupid. And it's like, why is a director who's obviously intelligent as Yaimu is, why is he involved in this terrible film with this stupid ending, which had been stupid all the way through? Like, what's he doing in this film? What the hell happened? Did he rewrite it when he started filming? Like, what happened? Because this is the dumbest thing ever. I mean, it's like you've already taken a dumb idea and executed it in dumb ways throughout the film, but this is the dumbest thing ever. And it's like, it's just the whole film. It always looks gorgeous, but it's stupid. It's really stupid. And that's why The Great Wall is worse than Speed 2 for this week's films. Because I was never quite as aghast at Speed 2 as I was at the end of this film. This film is terrible. This film is like, it's best of bad is because it's a director of talent, and it looks beautiful, and they're wasting all of their talents on the dumbest script ever. This is really awful. This is awful. This is just like this is like why this is why it's why the hell is what the hell is this? Is like why do you make this film? Well, why couldn't you see just from the script this didn't work? You know, this just does not work in any way. Like 2 minutes of examining the script would say nothing develops properly, the ending's stupid, you've barely got a lead character and he's a bit of a sociopath. And why is he even here in the first place? And why is he doing any of this stuff? Nothing makes sense at all from the film. It's an embarrassment. They made it for the money. They thought it could be a big dumb action movie and work with American producers and do a co-production that would bring in a big movie star and they'd make a lot of money in this and they'd find out how to do these big action movies. And it backfired horrifically. It was a mass bomb everywhere. It was an embarrassment everywhere. People complained, why is he in this film? This Chinese film. And then you see the film and you're thinking, why is he in this Chinese film? Because he's all the westerns in this film, the worst things in it. It's like, get rid of all of them. And get rid of the monsters and change it to a different type of monster and maybe it's something watchable. But this is just terrible. This is just the most awful thing ever. So, I hope you enjoyed my trashing of this film. I'll be back next week, hopefully with some more videos. But this is a low point of my year so far, this one. You know, I've no idea why I thought it was even remotely decent the first time I saw it, because when rewatching it, it's just dire. So, I'll see you later. Bye for now.